I'm Mr. Rosansky, and this is a speed run of PSAT 8-9, Practice Test 1, the second module, the B module, the easy one. And let's head to that first conventions question. Wow, was that 14? We're going to have a lot of these, I hope. I checked to see what, if any, omega considerations are popping for this one, and nothing seems to go. Omegas fall. So I move on to consistency. I'm going to look for lists and bridges. I don't see a little dashy poo. I don't see a little semicolon, and that's frustrating. There is a comma. Do I want to make a bridge in this situation? Will appreciate including. That doesn't seem like it's the object of the verb, so that's fall. I move to equivalence. Anything for that? There wasn't anything that's equivalent. Those have the same requirements of use, so I move on to the final four. I'm going to go after this period. Do I have a complete sentence on the left? I know that I'm not going to because I didn't like reading over this bridge here because this needs an object, so that's going to fall. Since I don't have a complete sentence, to the left of this environment, I don't have this. I didn't like the bridge, don't have a list of three or more. We have to just leave the verb connected to its object. I move on to the next conventions question. I check for my omega considerations. These are verbs. We've got a both, we've got a both, we've got, because we checked for number first, we've got a both, and we've got a plural. I'll bias the odd man out, but this is going to be a tense question, so I consider past, future, and the present. Now I'm going to go looking in the sentence that I'm in. You have learned more about Obsidian's structure, which is classified in a later chapter. The later chapter is going to be my clue here. My bias is going to be refuted by will learned, even though there's the present in this later chapter is going to kick me forward. See will learn. Conventions, omega considerations. I've got verb that's popping, so I do singular. I've got neither. I've got both, and I've got singular. These guys are a little bit weird. I anticipate that it's going to be one of these two things, but I have no odd man out to really bias, so I'll just read the sentence. She uses chemistry and fossil evidence to study oceans as they were in the past. This would give me two verbs that tell me one with no coordinating conjunction to link them. That's not what this and is doing. Then in this mix-up, we don't have a reduced passive. We want an in order to study is what I'm plugging in right there for this one. Next, conventions. Let's check for some omega considerations. I've got pronouns poppin'. I've got singular. I've got grammatically singular. Conceptually, it can be plural. I would only pick that to be consistent with others. And plural, this is going to be the odd man out. However, many people do not know that it was built over the course. Oh, what's the antecedent? The Salt Lake Temple. Those structures here. Don't know that the Salt Lake Temple, singular. Check for my omega considerations. I don't have any. This is not the complete sentence mix-up. As I move to consistency, I'm going to check this little semicolon here. I don't have any other semicolons in the text. Therefore, in equivalence, I can get rid of these two because then they must have the same function. Then we can go after one of these two guys. Let's imagine we put in the comma. On songs like That Name, the guitar lifts effortlessly blend. This is just like that other question. This isn't the object of the verb, but we want to have no comma before this prepositional phrase because it would be restrictively identifying the way in which it was blended was the verb. Absolutely. We've got conventions again. I check for my omega consideration. These are pronouns. I've got a singular, I've got a singular, I've got a plural, and I've got a singular. I'll bias the odd man out in this one. Go looking. He carefully considers the sound an object make before using these in a suit, the sound before using an object, before using it. We want an object in this. When you have demonstrative pronouns versus a personal pronoun, these are all demonstratives. This guy's the cutest one. You would have to have something screaming to you to go against that. So it is going to be our choice here. Let me just give it a read because I was thinking about the demonstrative pronoun thing. Cave makes his suits out of found objects. Everything for some. So it is plural, but then we shift. He carefully considers the sound an object before using the object in a suit. Yeah, it. Conventions, I peek below. I see that this is going to be the complete sentence mix up because I've got in A, I've got the lonely comma. I've got the lonely Coco in B. I've got the space in C and the beauty in D. So I'll pick that and go right side first just for funsies. Yeah, subject and verb there. That is a complete sentence. Humans, fibers, that's not the verb, that are used in clothing are more durable. There's my verb. Human-made synthetic fibers, that's a reduced relative clause like I was talking about before. Subject, verb, everything's fine. So we have a complete sentence on the left. We have a complete sentence on the right. The only way that we can join them is with that thing. Oh, I love these stacked verbies. Sorry. stacked conventions questions. I'm making consideration. We've got verb, we've got plural, we've got singular, we've got plural, we've got plural. I'm going to bias the odd man out, which is our was. Then I'm going to go looking for a subject, read over this bridge, land on this name. Was is my right answer. Conventions, oh my God, this is the most beautiful thing in the world. Verbs, we've got, oh, this is not a simple subject-verb agreement. We've got a both, we've got a plural, and we've got a plural there. I'm going to bias the odd man out. Let's consider tense. We've got present, past, present, and present, because we looked at the first verbs to tell us when. So this guy's the super odd man out. He's both in past. I'm going to look for a reason to pick a tense. Scientists are currently exploring ways to use this species in space. Oh, period. The double periods that threw me off. I should have started here. My bad. This thing might be used, for example, to build future biological air exchange systems that produce, that are producing, that produce. This is such a weird question. So we are in the future, the hypothetical future here. The aspects of we always, so past falls. Then what are we going to juggle here? This is the present progressive. This is the present perfect. However, you only pick one of these if you have a reason to pick it. There's nothing in here screaming to pick those, so we default to this. What's weird about the present is it can speak to all tenses. We can say, this thing is very efficient at making oxygen, even though it might not be doing it right now. It's a statement of fact about right now. And this is that same one, that produce oxygen. It's going to be so weird to build future biological air exchange that produce. Yeah, because it would be telling us when. Just a weird question. The nature of the simple present is it has multi-uses. Logical transition, we're out of the gorgeous ones now onto these. The Phoenicians, the fake Phoenicians. The Phoenicians were famous for using this natural dye to color their clothes a distinctive purple. The name Phoenicia itself, some historians claim, may have originally meant, in fact, I'm about to cough. All right, we back. And we back. The Phoenicians were famous for using this natural dye to color their clothes. So much so, were they famous? They were so much so, it may have originally meant land of the purple. Okay, I'll take it. A seal must exert, I bet it has to work hard to live, energy to propel itself hundreds of meters downward while keeping its heart rate low enough that it doesn't run out of oxygen. A seal must, on the other hand, a seal must exert enough energy to propel itself 100 meters downward. On a deep dive. No. Gliding to conserve. We're not opposites here. We're going to slow down and stop making fun of seals and be serious. A seal must exert enough energy to propel itself hundreds of meters downward while keeping its heart rate low enough that it doesn't run out of oxygen. A seal moves its flippers as little, on the other hand, for this reason. Yeah. Because they want to, we're freaking out here. We're not comparing. There's no first place. On the other hand, or for this reason. Because they need to exert energy while keeping heart rate low, they move they flippies as little as possible, gliding to conserve energy. Absolutely. Over the next few decades, sequencing there, NAF conducted more than 450 such interviews, also known as oral histories. In addition, she collected photographs and other artifacts that represented her subjects. She did interviews. Photographs are not interviews, but they support the overarching claim of her being a hard worker. Wants to emphasize how harsh the conditions can be in the tundra. Winters are especially hard with temperatures averaging a frigid. The frigid is a nice way of identifying that to me. Parsing out our goals. I've adapted. That's pretty cool for them. That's a ton of which average temperature can at least a mild. That doesn't really emphasize how harsh they can be. Along with, no, by saying how many animals are there, that's not exactly what we're looking for. We're going to parse out our goal here. The student wants to specify why historians believe the person designed most of Duke's campus buildings. Given that most of the buildings on Duke's campus feature architectural styles that had studied in Europe, is the one who designed them. I like that. Though Julian wasn't formally credited at the time, historians believe he designed, no, because we don't have to specify why. Most of the campus buildings, which were designed by a firm he worked for, were designed, this doesn't get out given that most of the specify why it was designed. This gives a detail. I'm going to fact check this one real quick. Given that most of the buildings on Duke's campus, did he study them in Europe? These two things were studied. It was hard. Most of the buildings were designed in Greg and Neo-Goth styles. So it's true. Based on the buildings, historians believe designed most of the campus. Yes. So I like this is true. It has the language that would specify why historians believe. This I would need to make an inference from, so I take that off the table. Now I'm looking at A and D. Julian, an architect who studied this architecture, is believed to have designed. What's different? It's architecture in Europe. Europe designed most of the buildings. Most of the buildings on Duke's campus feature architectural. Mabel. Oh, this is giving me the fact. A is the right answer. D is giving me the fact, but this doesn't connect the two of them. This is telling me that they are architectural in this way. This makes all of the logical connections. Most are this style. He studied these things, so it's there. This one makes a statement about this, and is hoping that I remember the fact of this being true in order to select it. Tricky, tricky, tricky. To the start, we've got these, which is going to kick us back to find some sort of context clue. Each species of firefly has its own special series of repeated flashes and pauses. These unique signals allow fireflies of the same species to patterns. So signals would be patterns is going to be the word that fix it for me. As I look to the next one, became known for avoiding, I don't see any signal elements as, so we move on. Instead of using, there's my signal element there. Instead of using standard shapes and colors, she typically explored innovative forms. Avoided using standard designs in her buildings. Traditional matches. Standard was my anticipatory word. We've got a colon here, so I'll just go right to the signal element. Talent Peter, Bell worked closely, I love that word, closely with Woolf to create original cover art for most of her novels. Featured a creative collaboration, partnership. Collaboration was my anticipatory word. Partnership matches onto that. The exhibition, 5 generations featuring comprised, 5 spanned, comprised. Yeah, spans. I just sniped that word. I absolutely knew it. I shouldn't be doing that. I didn't. This is my signal element. Context clue would be all of these things. Then anticipatory word was just spans to spans. On these easy sections, not much to consider. Which choice best describes the function of the underlying portion in the text as a whole? All right, what's the function? Scientists call this process transport. Transport, okay. It presents the remarks. Scientists that are teaming, no, because I think it's what scientists, it introduces a scientific term that is used in the discussion that follows. Scientists, maybe. It emphasizes the surprising natures. No. It explains the difference between 2 kinds of geologic. No. It introduces a scientific term, and that's all that it does. On to, based on, how would text 2 respond to text 1 on the behavior of magpies without trackers? So we're going to read this guy. We're going to read this guy if it allows me. We're going to read this guy if it allows me. We're going to read it. There we go. Thank you. Sorry. LOL. Huh. So, 2. About behavior of magpies. So what does he believe? It can be tempting to think that animals are deliberately providing help when we see them removing trackers and other equipment from one another. Noobs might think that animals be helping during stuff. When a species exhibit cooperative behavior, especially with known to be cooperative animals. At the same time, it can be difficult to exclude the possibility that I was simply interpreting it could be simply interested in it because of the novelty. Actually, though, they just want to swiper, yes, swipe, yes, swiper, yes, swipe them because the objects are cool. That's going to be my summary for this one. What about the behavior of magpies? Magpies without tracker. Oh, they're going to say something like they removed them to help them. And then it's going to be, no, dog, they were just cool. Dominic captured 5 Australian magpies to test a new design for tracking of birds. As the research fitted each magpie with a tracker, they noticed that without trackers pecking at another tracker until it broke off. Suggested this behavior could be attempting to help on each other without benefits. No, they just want to peck it because they want to yoink it, bro. The behavior might have been due to the novelty of my captive setting. No. Novelty of the tracker is what they want. That behavior likely indicates that the magpies were deliberately attempting to benefit themselves by attaining. Absolutely. That behavior might be evidence of selflessness. These magpies aren't selfless. That behavior might be adequately explained without suggesting that the magpies were attempting to. That behavior might be adequately explained without suggesting that the magpies. Oh, I like this one. I have to go back to this one. That behavior likely indicates that the magpie were deliberately attempting to benefit themselves. Oh, likely indicates. That's just something that it could be. Whoo, we got a little cocky there. That behavior likely indicates that the magpies were deliberately attempting to benefit themselves. At the same time, it can be difficult to exclude. No, he's not that firm. The behavior might be adequately explained without suggesting that they were trying to assist. Yes. Ooh, we love this tabling game. We have them side by side. Main idea. How much time do we have? More than enough. We're going to have some free graph questions. I just know it. Never show never. Main idea. This is... We're going to go to the last sentence, summarize this guy. For the program, he invites community members to learn. He invites the community to learn some stuff about music. So it's basically what's going to, and then experience conducting about music and doing it themselves. Cool. Let's go to the first sentence. There's not much here, but we'll practice best practice. Black Pearl Jam Orchestra, founded by performs. They perform classical performs classical music from Mozart by Beethoven and Jesse Montgomery to contemporary. Oh, from classical to modern. For the orchestra I conduct program, Johnson invites community members to learn some basic elements of conducting, so they're just like a man of the people. Main idea, the Black Pearl Jam Orchestra performs music from all over the world, but mostly, no, not it. Through time, Johnson founded to perform classical music by contemporary artists. I don't think so. The Black Pearl, this is such a weird interpretation of the first sentence. Founded it in order to perform classical music, like he wanted to perform classical music by this guy. This is mixing the two artists that he was performed. The Black Pearl Orchestra gives community members the chance to both listen to and participate in. Sure, it does that. It's kind of missing the Black Pearl gives community members the chance to listen to and participate in classical music performances. Yeah, this feels narrow. I feel like I might have done something wrong. Johnson founded the Black to perform classical music. No. Black from all over the world. No. I don't like that it's focusing in just classical musics, but I guess contemporary work wouldn't count. Kind of drops the contempt, but Johnson has community members conduct an orchestra to demonstrate how. No, we have nothing to express that. We want to complete the statement. Moons of dwarf planets. 2 examples of such dwarf planets. This is going to kick me back to having exactly one moon. Exactly one moon. Make an heiress. A is going to be the right answer. We want to complete the claim. What's the claim? What's the title is a better question. Results of the footprint analysis for 2 sets of theropod track. What's the claim, though, dog? The team's findings suggest that 2 theropods, the one that left Latora bitrax, had a higher maximum. It says that of the 2 theropods, the one that left Torre 6b tracks had a higher maximum mean speed. True. A longer stride length, a longer average stride, a shorter average stride, a shorter. So a longer average stride length. Did he have a longer average stride? Compared, says of the 2, the one that left the Torre B tracks had a higher maximum mean speed. Average stride length and estimated footprint length and a shorter footprint and a longer average stride. Good for him. We want to clap back against the hypothesis. We want to weaken. What's hypothesized? That this phenomena this phenomenon is the result yellow tinted organic carbon in Antarctic. Oh, I'm gonna have another coughing fit. I'll be right back. We back. Okay. Sorry about that. This phenomenon is because yellow-tinted OC, phenomenon is a result of yellow-tinted dissolved organic carbon in Arctic waters. Mixing, okay, this phenomena, yellow mixes with green. How would we weaken the team's hypothesis? If there is no yellow, or no green, or no blue. White ice doesn't change color when mixed with dissolved organic carbon. Dissolved has a stronger yellow color. This would not reduce their claim. I'm going to take this one off the table. Mixing with blue water ice, stronger yellow would just still mean green. Blue and green icebergs are rarely found near each other. Maybe. Let's look at this white ice concept. Let's interrogate it. I'm reading with the purpose of, does white ice change color when mixed with dissolved organic carbon due to the air bubbles in the ice? White ice doesn't change colors when mixed with dissolved due to the air bubbles. So we're just looking for how this becomes yellow. Besides polar bear pee-pee getting all over it. Icebergs generally appear to be mostly white or blue, depending on how the ice reflects sunlight. Oh, it says it in this. It is the result of yellow-tinted dissolved organic carbon. White ice doesn't change color when mixed with dissolved organic carbon due to the air bubbles in the ice. Ice without... Oh, I'm going to read. Just because this is saying something else. Icebergs generally appear mostly white or blue, depending on how the ice reflects sunlight. Ice with air bubbles trapped in it looks white because much of the light reflects off the bubbles. So it's white because there is light reflecting off bubbles. Ice without air bubbles looks blue because the light travels deep into the ice and only a little reflected. Okay. However, some icebergs in the sea appear to be green. One team's hypothesized is this phenomenon is a result of yellow-tinted dissolved organic carbon in ice waters, yellow-tinted dissolved organic carbon in Arctic waters mixing with blue ice to produce the color green. White ice doesn't change colors when mixed with dissolved. They wouldn't be found near each other because the blue ones would have changed. B takes off the table. A is chill. Blue icebergs and green icebergs contain similar traces of dissolved organic carbon. If it were to mix, would this refute it? If it were to mix, the yellow-tinted dissolved organic carbon in Arctic waters mixes with blue ice, similarly small traces. Yeah, if they both have it. D's the right answer. I don't know why this question is taking me so long. I just keep thinking about bubbles. Blue icebergs and green icebergs containing similarly small traces of dissolved. If they had the same dissolved traces of organic carbon, then the blue ones shouldn't be blue, they should be green. White ice not changing colors when mixed with dissolved organic carbon. We're not caring about the white ice. We're caring about the blue ice. Yeah, this was true if this is... I just got so caught up in like the white versus blue, but all I really needed was this last sentence. We were speaking to white ice. I guess I was going blue ice to... I was imagining that white ice went to yellow, and the reading of it really screwed me up on that one. We want to support the scholar's claim. What's the scholar's claim? The game was largely played by traders. Largely by traders. Let's see if we can do anything. Other examples of the game dating to the same period have been found in the remains of several homes in the region. Including in one home that may have belonged to a trader. No. I want it to be the game largely played by traders, and if just one were in a trader, that's not really going to support it. Similar games are found in other sites dating the same period that were connected to the site. Trade routes. Oh, connected to the sites, and maybe the other known examples of the game dating to the same period have been found along the routes that seem to have been used primarily by traders at the time. I like this one. Let's get one of these off the table. Similar games. Let's read a little bit of the text. little is known, which is carved against some scholars. Yeah, none of that really helped or mattered. Some scholars claim that the game was largely played by traders. Similar games have been found in other sites dating to the same period that were connected to the site in Oman via trade routes. The other known examples of the game dating to the same periods have been found along routes that seem to have been primarily used by traders. I'll take B off the table. Remnants of other games that have probably reached location through trade. We want largely played by traders. The statement about that have been primarily used by traders shows that it was played by traders. Logically completes the text. In one simulacrum, therefore, so we're going to bounce back one. In one simulation, researchers delayed the initial formation of the middle ring, causing oversized super Earths. Formation of the middle ring. The researchers because they delayed the initial formation of the middle ring and caused a oversized super Earth to develop. In one simulation, delayed the initial formation of the middle ring. Delayed the initial formation of the middle ring, causing oversized super Earths to develop in the outer ring. Okay. The middle ring formed in the earlier than the initial simulation suggested the timing of the initial formation of the middle ring played an important role in determining the eventual side. The researchers delayed the initial formation of to begin developing from the innermost ring. Played an important role in I like the way that B looks just from this. The middle ring earlier than the initial simulations suggested. Delayed. I'm going to take this one off the table. I read more of the text. A is making it seem like this one simulation was like the last one and is disproving it, but they're just running simple tests on things, so there was no conclusions being made. I like the way the B looks. If the formation of the outermost ring had occurred early in this of all the planets, I don't know anything about outermost, so I'm not going to make a claim about that. Formed into all planets, not just the four. I don't know where we get that. B is the only one that really relates to the ending sentence. Logically complete. Run our final one by ensuring the use and hundreds of other the use of language. They ensure decreasing the numbers of medicinal plants. I don't know how they're doing that. Transmitting terms from medical plants from indigenous to global language. That's spicy. Preserving knowledge about the medicinal value. I like that concept. Ensure that physical access to, not physical, preserving knowledge about the medicinal value of plants native to the tribal nation's land by making sure that we continue to use Cherokee and hundreds of other languages. Tribal nations are also preserving knowledge about the medicinal value of native plants to it. I'm going to read a little bit more. People exclusively use a globally dominant language. Fade. The fact lends added importance to tribal nations efforts to preserve their languages. Oh, geez. Are reflecting the vocabulary of single. However, as more, such as English, their ancestral languages fade from daily use. They are increasing the number of. No, we wouldn't be adding more. Transmitting terms for medicinal plants from indigenous. Yeah, just see. Weird. GG.